What is up, guys? Welcome to the video. Just finished our Houston Jiu-Jitsu World League competition and got that first place in no gi. It's kind of last minute for me. I jumped in. I just finished doing LASIK surgery, so I'm just happy that I was able to compete and actually win. I'm gonna be dropping this video on Thursday. I still have to chop up the video, produce it. Be on the lookout for that because it's dropping soon. What I want to do today is I want to talk to you about martial arts and what's the best martial art that you can start training. When it comes to martial arts, it really just depends on what you want to get from it. If you want to learn a martial art for self-defense, or if you want to learn a martial art so you can get in better shape, we're going to be talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing. But if you're new to the channel, I invite you to subscribe. Here at Conquer Mindset, we talk about personal finance, business, relationships with women, developing a warrior mindset through martial arts, lifting weights, and strength training. So smash that subscribe button so you can get our videos. Let's get started. When I barely started training martial arts, I really didn't have an idea of where to start. I really just jumped into martial arts because I had a good friend that was training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he told me about it and how it really helped him, develop his confidence, get stronger, and also learn a couple of self-defense techniques. So I thought it was very interesting, and I decided to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I started off. There are many other martial arts that you can start with. A lot of people think that they have a good idea of fighting, but the reality is that most of us don't know how to fight. When you actually learn a martial art, you learn more about how the actual technique works. I honestly believe that the way to end bullying is to learn a martial art. It's a very humbling yet empowering way of fitness and of getting stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually. If you see UFC fights, Bellator fights, the main martial arts that you see there are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. All of these martial arts have been proven to work because they are like in this melting pot of different martial arts in the MMA world. All of these martial arts are going to keep you in shape, especially if you train them constantly. If you're always on top of them and you're constantly going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, you're always gonna stay in shape with any of these martial arts. Let's say I was right now, I'm in my mid-20s. If I was to barely start training martial arts right now, I would start with boxing and wrestling, just so I can get a good foundation of how to throw strikes and how to grapple. Best practical martial art that you're gonna actually use in real life. I would say that we would have to break it down by the spectrum of how old you are and what you're trying to get from the sport. We'll start with kids. Kids, that's usually from a range of 5 years old all the way to 12 years old. They're barely starting, so they're like a sponge. They soak in so much knowledge at that young age because their mind is developing, and they're just learning so much as they get older. From 5 to 12, I would say that the best martial arts to start training would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. And the reason why is because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a gentle but very effective martial art. Most cases you have to wear a gi. A gi is like that kimono that you wear with the belt. You wrap it. If you see a Jiu-Jitsu academy, it's very, it's a gentle art. You're learning how to grapple on the ground. You also start to learn submissions. What's great about starting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a very young age is that you begin to learn how martial arts works. You begin to develop respect, humbleness, and a aggressive, competitive mindset. So that's what's great about Jiu-Jitsu, and it's a great way for kids to get started. Once I have kids in the future, the very first martial art that I'll probably get them into is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Great organized sport, and they'll learn so many life skills from the sport if they started at a very young age. The second martial arts for kids that I would recommend would be wrestling. And the reason why is because wrestling is a very tough sport. And for that reason, one of the best sports to get young kids into. With wrestling, you begin to develop a very competitive, aggressive, and winner mindset. If you go to wrestling academies, wrestling gyms, like, these guys are always grinding and they're always trying to compete to win, pinning their opponents. So that mindset from the get-go is very go, 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 win, 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 pressure, pressure. So that's what I really admire about wrestlers. They're going to keep bullies off them for sure. They're going to get stronger, and they're also going to develop the mindset of a winner, of a competitor. That's why I really like wrestling. I think the mentality part is why wrestling is so powerful, because it really is going to teach you a lot of skills outside of the gym. Kids are going to see life in a different way by wrestling. It's going to really help them develop and chase excellence outside of the gym, because they're going to be applying the same mentality that they have in the wrestling gym into life. Looking back at it, I wish I would have wrestled back when I was a kid, and I think wrestling is a great martial art. Let's go ahead and jump into the young men category. So I would classify young men from 12 years old all the way up to 18 years old. Once you get to this range, it will be a great time to be introduced into striking, like your boxing, your Muay Thai, kickboxing. Also recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. But at this time, you know, incorporating some striking would be perfect. And this is where you start getting a lot of bullies. At this age, you're moving, you're out and about, you're doing your thing. You're in middle school, you're in high school, you're going to different events. You're playing sports. There's a lot of ego here with other students, with other classmates. So if you want to have a martial art that's going to help you for self-defense, striking would be perfect here. In the school setting, if you have a good foundation of striking, you will learn how to attack quickly. You will learn how to manage distance. If someone's taller than you, shorter than you, you'll learn how to manage the distance with different opponents. Let's say focus on boxing, so you can throw some good combinations on top, and also some Muay Thai, so you can learn your kicks, your knees, some elbows. You start incorporating all that into your game. You already have your grappling, you're good on that, and then you also have your striking. So you're starting to become a more well-rounded fighter that's going to be very dangerous and very lethal as you start developing more in your journey of a martial artist. And then finally, adults. And here we'll classify it from 18 and up. So it can be from 18 all the way up to 40, 50, 60. I think you can start training martial arts at any point in your life. So it doesn't matter if you're 60. If you want to start training martial arts, get into the gym, and I promise you it's going to be one of the best things that you ever do. At this age, I would say that you can jump into any martial art. You can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can do boxing, you can do Muay Thai, kickboxing, wrestling. Here, the sky's the limit. But here also I would throw in Krav Maga. And Krav Maga is more of a combat style martial art. A lot of people in the military, I know the Israeli military does a lot of Krav Maga, and this is more like hands-on combat where you use weapons. You can disarm somebody with a weapon. If they have a knife, if they have a gun, you start using more of that, like that tactical real world situation type of skills. It wouldn't hurt to have a good understanding of how Krav Maga works, and it's actually one of the martial arts that I plan to get into in the future as well. At 18 and up, if you didn't really have too much time to be in the gym and you just wanted to learn a martial art for self-defense, to stay in shape, I would recommend MMA, boxing, and wrestling, because these are really practical martial arts that you can use at any point. With MMA, you're gonna learn a little bit of everything: Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai. It's all incorporated into MMA. I would strongly recommend getting into an MMA gym. The next thing would be boxing. If you have a good foundation of boxing, you can become very dangerous, because boxing they call it the sweet science for a reason. It's the science of hitting and not getting hit. This is one of the best martial arts to know. If you're traveling, if you're going out and about, if you're at the store, at a club, at a bar, at the grocery store, just about anywhere, you have a good foundation of boxing, you're gonna be dangerous, because you know how to throw your combinations, you know how to slip, move your head, have that head movement, and defend yourself. So boxing could be perfect. Wrestling as well. If I couldn't train jiu-jitsu, if I couldn't train Krav Maga, I would do or MMA or Muay Thai. I would just do boxing and wrestling, because you'll have a good understanding of how to strike from the top, and you will also learn how to grapple. So in mini scuffles, if you see how any videos on World Star or whatever happens in any of these YouTube videos, A lot of the guys start off boxing, but then they start grappling, so it's a very practical skill to know. Another thing that I would note is that do not be intimidated by martial arts. It might be difficult at first, and it will be difficult at first because you're gonna be getting smashed. You're gonna be in a different setting that you're not used to, in uncomfortable positions. But after time, you're gonna begin to get better, and that's gonna start to increase your confidence. I really do believe that it is every man's responsibility to learn how to defend himself and the people that he loves, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're in danger and you can't defend yourself and then you can't defend your family. I don't have kids yet. Someday I hope to have kids. When I do have kids, I want to know that I can defend them. If something were to happen, if there's a perpetrator trying to come up and attack us, I know exactly what to do and keep this perpetrator from my family, to keep them safe and keep them protected. I really recommend training a martial art because it's going to help you become a better person, a better man, and it's also going to increase your confidence and the fact that you are a dangerous motherfucker. So train martial arts, guys. Get into a dojo, at least learn something. If you can't get into a dojo, train with your friends, spar with your friends, let them know like, hey guys, we're gonna take it light. We're just gonna work on a little bit of technique, and then after that you can start increasing the intensity of your sparring. One of the channels that I really like to look at is Fight Tips with Shane Faison. Shout out to Shane Faison. A lot of his videos are pretty nice, and he breaks down a lot of different techniques. I'll link his channel on the bottom, but he has a lot of great techniques and he breaks down exactly what to do in a lot of situations. So he has a lot of great content. Regardless of what martial art you start to take up, just get in there, go in there with an open mentality, just give it a shot and just start training. So I'm interested to see what you think. Do you think these martial arts are some of the best martial arts, or do you think maybe there's some other martial arts that we could have incorporated into the list? Drop it down in the comments. I'm interested to see what you think. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and also hit that subscribe button because we drop 2 new videos every single week and you don't want to miss them. I'll catch all of you in the next video. Stay strong and keep on conquering. Peace.